moving on to the last question, what do you think about the performance of capital market and financial market in general in next like 2 or 3 months or maybe next year?
Wow, that's that's probably the hardest question of all. I think that we thought that the set was offering really good value when it came down to 1,200 in December, and we actually put out a note before the coup when the set was about 1,400, saying that we thought it was time to take money off the table because we were just worried about the risk of some event, and I think we still have that big risk, and if we get
it's too expensive now.
Well, I think it's just vulnerable. I think that we could easily see a situation where if we get fighting on the streets, or we get some really violent outbreaks, or we get buildings burning down, or the kind of things that look really bad on foreign TV screens. If we get those incidents happening, I think that we could see really big fall in the set, 20-25% easily from these levels.
Oh, wow.
I don't think it would be something that would create a lasting problem. I think it would be quite short term, and so we'd actually see that as a real buying opportunity in the market. But I think that the risk is there, and so we're quite happy just to be, and I know the sets rallied probably 3-4% since we said that we were just getting a little bit too worried and we were taking money out of the market. I know it's rallied since then, but we're quite happy just to be sitting on the sidelines and watching, because I think it's okay. So what's your view of what might happen in the shorter term?
From my perspective, the easier part to project is the baht. I saw that the baht will be depreciate from now on. One big factor is, like you said, due to the global economy, the QE tapering and everything, and also the fund flow. So we project that the baht will be about 33.5 baht by year end. Right now it's about 32.7 or something like that. That is easier, but the capital market, I agree with you that it's quite difficult and it's quite expensive somehow.
No, exactly. I don't think the risk is priced in, but I think that's a very good call on the baht. We've seen a lot of foreign commentary saying the baht should be 36, 37 because of that.
That's too much.
I agree. I think the only way we'll see that is if we get a really major global crisis. And if that happens, then I think, but people aren't talking about that. They're saying baht going to 36, 37 because of the domestic issues. I don't see that happening at all.
Right. We at Kiatakin Patra quite conservative. Actually, most conservative in the Thai house.
Okay.
Yeah, we project that Thai economy will. Before the coup, we project that. It will grow around 1.1% this year, and after the coup and the policy, a bit pro-growth policy coming on and everything, and so we project that it may go up. This is primary projection. I would say it will grow around 1.8 to 2% around that. If we calculate into amount of money, so it's around 100 billion baht. Up, so everything seems to be better, and like consumption, investment will be go up in the Q3 and Q4 and everything, but there's quite some risks going forward in our idea, like the risks of crash and everything. What do you think about the risks of Thai economy and Thai capital market going forward?
Well, as I say, I think the biggest risk is the exogenous risk of what's going to happen overseas. I think that's really what scares us, and I think it's very difficult to try and predict the timing on that. As I said, if we see any political clashes or any violent clashes, I think that's a buying opportunity, because I think the reaction will be very, very short term on that. I think there's also a risk of policy mistake, and that's true all the time. But the regime have so many difficult decisions to make that the more decisions you have and the harder they are, then the greater the chance of mistake. But I tell you, I think this has been very interesting for me, because you've reaffirmed a lot of the things that I believe about what's happening here in Thailand, that I think essentially the situation overall is much more positive than it was, and I think it's great that you came up with such sensible GDP projections at the start of the year. The good thing about making conservative projections that turn out to be right is you don't have to turn around and keep issuing all these really
nodes
big
and
adjustments,
cut
and
down,
so if you get the projections right, you never have to turn around and say you're sorry that you were wrong. So I think that's very good and very positive. So thanks a lot, Dr. Piersack, for sharing that with me.
And thank you very much, Mr. Paul. It's very pleasure to talking with you.
Thank you.